everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the And Also podcast. I am your host, Madison, and today I am talking to one of my lifelong besties, Ivan. I'm really excited about this conversation because we have very much grown up together in so many ways, and I think talking about eating disorders, body image, and all things in that realm is such an important conversation, especially when so many of us deal with those struggles on a day-to-day basis. So that is our topic for today. But before we get into the interview, we have our drink of the day. And today's drink is the Recess Mood Magnesium and Adaptogen Infused Sparkling Water. I didn't realize this was sparkling water. I probably shook mine. Well, we'll find out in a second. And this is the black cherry flavor. I honestly just bought it because the packaging was very cute. I think they could have gone with a different font. I'm so annoying. I think they could have gone with a different font. But otherwise, I really like the packaging. I'm not a sparkling water girl, so I'm kind of curious to see how this will be. Let's give it a try. Allegedly, it's supposed to give you better vibes, ultimately. So let's try it out. All right. It smells good. Smells like black cherry. I love me a black cherry. It's overpriced black cherry seltzer. Let me be real with you. It's good. If you like black cherry seltzer, just like, it kind of tastes like a black cherry White Claw. Does it not? Does it taste like a black cherry White Claw?
It actually does.
I'm like a little traumatized. Yeah, I mean, it tastes like a lighter black cherry White Claw. So if you like the black cherry White Claw, then this might be your new thing. I mean, the packaging is cute, right? Like, that's really what it's all about. Ooh, I would love to mix this with cold brew and a little bit of tart cherry juice. That would slay the house down. I'll try it again. I'm going to try it again in the future, but it's pretty good. And next, we have our book of the week. This book is called Picture Perfect: Life in the Age of the Photo Op. It's by Kiku Adatto. So this book discusses the idea that we live in a very digital photo first world, which I feel like was relevant kind of to the conversation around eating disorders, because there is a sense of a role played by social media and our outward image that definitely deceives our idea of what a body quote unquote should look like. With a book like this, it talks a lot about how photos can be used to draw up a narrative around any sort of situation, whether it's political, whether it's a historical event, whether it's what we post on our Instagram pages. And I think just living in the digital age, the age of the photo op, is a little bit wild, and it's almost difficult to process at times because so many people live through their phones versus like living through their lives. Like, people literally cannot put their phones down for 2 seconds and like just function in the world. And it's very interesting when you're out with friends and it's more important that you get the photo versus having a good time, or you wear the right outfit so that it looks good on Instagram, so that it performs well in your feed. All of it's really a bizarre concept to consider how much the photo op and just like getting the right photo has shifted our society, even in terms of like political events. Taking the photo is more important than being present. Just, there's so many things in our world, and especially now, like, to even get more off topic, but even with TikTok, like, it's more important for people to get the TikTok and to follow the trend and do the thing and live their life to what is being presented and shown through video and photo versus just doing what feels authentically good for them. So this book kind of covers photo ops in politics, control over photos, movie heroes, the person and the pose, and how everything in certain photos is kind of created to draw up a narrative. And I think it's a really interesting read if you're interested in stuff like this, and just about, I guess, if you're interested in like media studies and politics, this will kind of touch on both of those things very strongly, because I think the way that we do utilize photos in our world today is something we have never seen before. Yeah, that's the book. Hope you like it if you read it. And if you don't, let me know what you are currently reading. And with that, let's get started with today's interview. I hope you guys enjoy it. Of course, trigger warning for eating disorder related content, body dysmorphia, body image, all of those things. So if that is not helpful for wherever you're at in recovery, you might want to click off this video. Okay, so I am joined today by Ivan. Ivan, I've literally known you since...
Literally forever.
Since literally the beginning of time.
Yes.
Since the world began.
No, quite literally.
I've watched you grow up.
Mm-hmm.
You've watched me
Mm-hmm.
be...
Crazy.
Crazy
in New York City.
So, I'm like, what's the word for this? So today we are talking about eating disorders.
Yes,
and we're both seasoned in the eating disorder world.
Yeah, multiple
seasonings. Multiple different seasons. I can't. And for those of you watching, this might be a little unserious, and I'm just sorry ahead of time.
I'm not serious, but this is serious.
This is so serious. Trigger warning.
Yes, literally.
I would love for you to introduce yourself and I guess your relation to the topic, a little backstory, a little content for us.
I'm Ivan. I feel like I began having eating disorder thoughts probably my junior year of high school, right when COVID hit, and we were all inside scrolling on TikTok, and that was back when those Chloe Ting workouts were literally everywhere. And
not everyone in the room just looked up and felt triggered immediately.
Chloe Ting, girl.
Chloe Ting did it to us.
You did some things to me. And those things stayed.
So real.
And I was doing track at the time. So I was doing track, but then I was also at home doing school, but then I would also go to school. And it was a lot with my
eating.
did
the hybrid.
I did the hybrid, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I still did track the whole time.
Ooh.
When it was in session.
What do you think, I guess those beginning days of it all?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of gathering that it might have been a result of things you were seeing on social media, self-comparison, all of that. Is that kind of...
I feel like it really had to do with my dating life.
Yeah.
I am gay. And unfortunately, no. But I feel in the gay community, eating disorders are very normalized.
Yes.
I've honestly never met a gay person that does not have an eating disorder of some type. I'm talking to these guys on these apps, and instead of complimenting your face, your, I don't know, personality, blah, 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 it goes straight to your body.
The stuff I've seen that you have posted.
I've had guys ask me my BMI, ask me my waist size, ask me my eating habits. I've had people even tell me eat a burger, stupid stuff like that.
And it's crazy because it's not a one-off thing. It's
not.
Almost every single message that you're receiving is literally that.
Still to this day. I don't know, it's weird to see, but I feel I'm at a point where now it doesn't impact my life as much as it used to.
Right.
I feel when I was younger, 16, 17, talking to these guys, it had such an impact on me that would ruin my whole day and really start the eating disorder for me.
The body expectations in the gay community
are lot.
Very different.
If you don't fit into a specific standard in the gay community's eyes, you're nothing.
Yeah.
Which really sucks because I feel there's so much more to a person than their body, their BMI,
so
what they
much more.
eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner.
And BMI also is so bullshit.
Yeah, that's another story.
BMI in general still is period, down
down boots. It is not.
BMI is a lie. It's based off of very racist and misogynistic standards, and it needs to be canceled forever. Thank you, BMI, if you're listening, please get out of here. Go, girl. We don't need you here. Are you comfortable sharing what your specific eating disorder looked like?
For me, I kind of dabbled in two different kinds.
Not the dabble.
I don't know how to word it. I feel it started out with me just counting calories. At one point, I knew every single calorie that was in my body, to the number.
MyFitnessPal?
Girl, I had this subscription. Like, it was
Me
down bad for me.
too.
Mm-hmm.
So bad.
So bad. And then I would say probably like last year and the year before, I kind of struggled with bulimia a little bit. And I'm not like, I don't really vocalize that with my friends because it's always like a joke. Like if I'm like too drunk, I like make myself throw up.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
It's
always,
deeper than that.
yeah, it wasn't always like when I was drunk or I like maybe didn't feel as drunk and I still wanted to throw up because I knew I was like eating hella that day
Yeah.
in my mind.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
one slice of pizza and you're done for.
Yeah, yeah.
My fitness pal was my arch nemesis. Still is. I can't even like see. I still get the emails from them. And every time I unsubscribe, I still get the emails.
Mm-hmm. I still have that app.
And I'm like, I had to delete the app.
That's
Because
really good.
I was so similar to you. Like if I even ate, like if I took vitamins,
Yes.
I would count the calories. If I chewed a piece of gum, if it had like 1 calorie, you're adding it to my fitness pal.
Yes,
It
biotin, the hair and nails, everything.
Everything like this.
Oh, yeah.
This little guy.
And this is nothing.
It's nothing. But in your head, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like that's it. I've had my treat for the day.
Well, that's another thing. I feel like everyone's been told that you shouldn't drink your calories.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother thing I like don't agree with. But like for some reason in my head, I like know exactly like the amount I'm drinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's really frustrating too to like try to get out of that because once you know, it's like when you know, girl.
Yeah.
So you almost like subconsciously are adding up what you're eating every day.
Everything.
And it's so obsessive.
Mm-hmm.
You said it stemmed a lot from your dating life. Were there any other factors that you felt like contributed?
I feel like it was me jumping into the older part of the gay community so young. I started talking to guys like way older than me when I was like 16, 17. And then I like continued with that.
Yeah.
And they don't care about you at all. They don't care about your face. They don't care about your personality. No matter what they say, they don't care. It always boils down to your body.
Yeah.
And before I used to go on dates, I would like fast for like a few days so I can go on the date. And so I'd be able to eat on the date in front of them so they like wouldn't think anything. But then in my head, I'm like, I want them to think I'm like not eating.
That's the thing with eating disorders is there's this like almost obsession with proving that you're like sick enough to yourself or to others. Like you want people to worry about you. You want people to feel like triggered by you.
Which is, it's sick. It like sounds very bad, but I don't think everyone with an eating disorder, I don't think it's a conscious thought they're doing.
It's not. It's just like part of the bigger picture. Because like for me, a little backstory on my eating disorder situation. For me, it started when I was 10. I remember like the day. It was like a summer day and we were going to go outside and go swimming and I put on my bathing suit and I just lost it. You know, I'm 10.
Yeah.
And when you're 10, why are you thinking about that?
Yeah, why are you like thinking about how you look?
Yeah, but that's kind of where it started. And I remember everyone went outside to go swimming and I stayed in my room and I did like 100 sit-ups.
No.
Yeah.
10 years old?
10 years old.
That is so sad.
10 years old. I'm laughing, but I'm traumatized.
No, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, and I like made this like commitment to myself that I would do 100 sit-ups every day. And that very much spiraled into this obsession with like working out. And then that spiraled into healthy eating in my head.
Yeah, it was the whole like calories
It's a pipeline.
in. Yes, it is.
It's a pipeline.
Was it like a whole like calories in, calories out type of thing with the working out?
Yes, it was.
Which is, I feel like that is a very toxic mindset.
It's so bad.
But I feel like we're almost like kind of sort of taught that in like health classes.
Yes, we are. And like when you grow up in like diet culture, like I was a kid in like, you know, the early 2000s, and that's what you saw everywhere. Every magazine, every TV show, every celebrity that you saw, it was giving heroin chic at all times.
Heroin chic, which is crazy.
Like, okay, people don't look like that. That's
they
not
don't.
normal. And there's always such an emphasis on like weight gain equals bad and like weight gain equals you're a piece of shit. It's really, it like warps your mind. And then as soon as I saw that in myself, granted I was 10, like what weight was I gaining? I was literally 10.
Yeah.
But in my head,
Yeah.
it was like one thing on my body looked different. Drop and give me 100.
Yeah,
like,
that's where it starts. It really starts all in your head.
Like it lingered like that for a long time. It was just like a very conscious thought. I was very insecure. And then I got into high school and girl,
Downhill.
down boots.
Downhill boots.
Down boots hills. It was so bad. It was, I remember like a really big trigger for me was prom. I was like, by prom,
Oh my God, yeah.
I need to get to my goal weight.
That's all you hear around prom time. Like I need to fit into this dress immediately.
It's like, why couldn't I just buy one size up?
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't I just bought the right size? But no, in my head, I needed to get to a certain number, which was, when I think about that number now, I actually don't think I would be alive if I was at that number.
Yeah.
And the fact that I thought I could live a healthy, happy life once I hit that number, because I did hit that number. And when I hit that number, it was very much like, I could go 5 more pounds.
Yes, it gets worse and worse and worse. You want to keep going down and
You're
down and down.
never, ever, ever, ever going to be satisfied with the number. But leading up to prom, I didn't eat for a full week. The whole thing was like an emotional disaster. It was not fun.
Wow.
I felt like I was going to faint the whole time. Like just how much of my life I lost.
It makes you look back and be like, was that worth it?
Yeah, and it wasn't, because I missed out on so much of my life.
Yes.
I didn't find myself at peace with food and my body until the last maybe year or two. But those thoughts are still
They're always going to be there.
They
They're
just
always
like,
gonna be there.
you have to literally just like turn them off, like, and just literally ignore it.
I find that when I'm like around my friends is when I think about food the least, because I feel most comfortable eating when I'm with my friends.
Yeah.
Like I eat the most when I'm with my friends.
And you don't
for
have
that
as much
reason.
time to like spiral about it, because
Yeah.
you're like talking and chilling and like hanging out, and being lit boots.
Yes, le boots mama.
Like,
At work, I avoid the break room at all costs.
oh, the break room is the worst place in the world.
I hate the break room, period. But I hate the break room because I just don't like eating in front of strangers. And just like what you just said, I feel like everyone's watching me. Everyone's like, oh, he's eating all that.
Yeah.
Like
and
I
people
tried-
make unsolicited comments about what you're eating all the time.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, girl, another salad?
Mhm.
Like,
Another
chips
piece of pizza?
today?
Yes. I'm like,
like-
oh my God. And like any little comment about food to this day, I just don't like.
yeah.
Whether it's good or bad. And
Yeah.
that's something I need to work with, because that's not someone you really want to be around, I feel like.
I'm the same way, though. I can't even agree or disagree, because I'm literally the same.
You
I'm
get what
like-
I'm saying, though. Like, I just
Yeah.
don't like the topic of food with people.
It's
Like,
so
I don't
difficult.
like, if I'm eating something, I don't want you to be like, oh, another one? Or I don't want you to be like, oh, we already have food on the table, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, I want to eat.
Is that giving childhood trauma?
Girl, we are circling back.
Like-
Yes. Yes.
But you know what? I think it was our parents' generation
Oh my God, yes.
to, like, their parents said it to them. It's like, oh, another helping?
Yes.
It's like not
Another plate.
directly like, oh, you shouldn't eat that, but it's almost worse. Like, I'd rather you just tell me I shouldn't eat it
Me too.
than give me that, like, look.
Or you buy food for the house and then I go to grab it.
Oh.
And then it's like the end of the world because I'm eating. I'm like, okay.
Or like, are you really going to have a snack right now? And
Yes.
it's like 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
It's those little things that really stick with a person.
mm-hmm.
And it's still, stuck with me, and I like try to work it out, but it really is like an everyday type of thing.
How do you cope with it? Do you? Are we coping?
I mean, I look to my friends when it comes with like coping or like support, in other words.
Yeah.
Because, like, once again, I feel the most comfortable eating around them. I feel the most comfortable talking to them about food. I don't exactly feel that same way with my family. I don't really tell them that. But
It's all peace and love.
yes,
All peace and love.
all peace and love. It's all in my head. And now it's just coming out. Yeah, I feel like I really just look towards my friends for support. And
So I was like, yeah, that's me, girl.
yes, that one right there. I don't know. It's hard to cope with. I delete the MyFitnessPal probably like once every few months, and that's
Okay,
my like
period.
coping.
You know what was the pipeline for me? I don't know if you're too young for this, but because you had an eating disorder, and I'm really interested to see if you do.
Okay.
Tumblr.
Yes, I had Tumblr. I had Tumblr.
Need we say more
Tumblr's a whole nother thing.
eating disorder Tumblr?
And I also watched eating disorder Tumblr was bad. And I also watched the reality show with Yolanda Hadid.
Oh.
Her little comments.
Oh, with the cake. Remember when
Oh
Bella
my God,
like,
yes.
or was it Bella or Gigi? I don't even know.
It was. I think it was probably Bella.
Sorry, Bella.
It was one of them.
You're being targeted by your mother.
Yes.
Like,
it's like those little comments I see on like TV, and it's like normal. Like Bella's or whoever's reaction wasn't like, oh my God, that's crazy.
right.
It was like very normalized.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you're right. I shouldn't eat this cake.
Yeah, and
Like,
I'm like,
I know. I was just gonna have a little bite. Like, if
and
there's
then
cake,
yeah, I want a piece.
like, give me the full thing.
Yeah, give me a
Like,
fork, give me a knife.
Right, I'm ready. I'm chowing. Yeah, eating disorder Tumblr was where it that's where it amplified everything for me. Yeah.
I feel like a misconception is that everyone thinks it's all on purpose.
Yeah.
Is that like we like
Like you're plotting and scheming.
yes, or like we're like fat phobic, for example.
Yeah.
Which no, that is not the case.
It's literally not, because I will see like plus size people all the time and be like, period, you slayed that better than I could ever done slayed it.
Exactly. It's
Like,
it's never about anyone else around me. Like I'm not looking at someone and like thinking about
yeah.
their body. It's all about me. That's what that's what an
That is
eating
such a good
disorder
point.
is.
That is such a good point. Like, it's just like you almost don't even see other people.
Yes.
Like, it's so isolating. You literally feel like you're the only person to ever exist in this sort of mindset.
Yeah.
I would love to hear about your breaking point with everything.
like when I like realized it was bad.
Yeah, like when you, I guess, you know, there's that period of eating disorder where you don't know it's an eating disorder.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're like, and then you live in the eating disorder, and then there's the point where you're like, okay, now this needs to stop. So I guess your timeline of like, when did you realize it was a eating disorder, and then when was your moment of like, I need to do something?
What year? 2021, when I graduated high school. Before graduation, I was in track for the spring season. Like track practices, like you're running, doing all the things.
Yeah, stretching, running.
And I would walk home after practice every day. I would be walking home from track practice and I would literally faint, like feel nauseous and like uncomfortable. Then I'd get back to the house and act like nothing happened. That probably happened for 1 or 2 months. And then I had to quit track. I emailed my coach and I explained the situation. I was like, I'm having, problems. This was like the first time I was like really upfront to it.
Like you admitted it.
Yeah,
to a grown person.
To my coach.
Yeah.
I basically said something along the lines of I've been fainting like during practice, as in like we would be running, I would go to the bathroom and I would just like sit and like stare at myself in the mirror because it was just too much.
Yeah.
You know that like nauseous feeling?
Yeah, you're like literally seeing stars. Like your head feels like it's a balloon.
Yeah, because right before practice, on days where I was home, so like on the hybrid days, I would have like a light and fit yogurt before and then go to track, feel lightheaded and everything, go to the bathroom and just like sit and chill for a second and then walk home and then literally faint on my way home. Yeah, in the tennis court, to be exact. I'd like have to sit down. It was like really bad.
Oh my God, not fainting in the tennis court.
And I sent an email to my coach and explained that to her. And she responded. She was very, supportive, obviously, but she showed it to my mother. And then my mom knew about the situation, and I don't think it went anywhere. And that's like nothing on my mom. I don't blame her or anything. It didn't really go anywhere. It was kind of like she kind of just knew about it. She was like, you got to eat more. And then
I feel like they never know what to do.
They don't. Like she still doesn't really understand it.
They think it's just like eat more. Just eat. Like you're just not eating enough.
It's not like that at all.
It really has nothing to do with eating. It has to do with
image,
control, self-regulation, your perception of yourself and others' perception of you.
Yes.
And food is just the weapon.
I quit track And then I remember I didn't go to school for like a week. I just did it online because I was like, I just don't want to see my coach in the hallways.
Yeah.
So I just did the whole online for like a week or two. And then I actually never really saw her when I went back to school.
Wow.
After that, my mom would just like remind me to eat all the time. Or like she'd like watch me when I'm eating dinner. And she still does that. And that's another thing. I don't like people watching me eat.
It makes me so uncomfy.
Mm-hmm. She kind of was just like on me, but like not really. She was just like, make sure you eat enough. Or like she'll watch me when I'm eating.
Yeah.
Or I noticed she would get my favorite little snacks. She'd get the little Debbies and the little bites.
Oh, the little bites.
Mm-hmm.
Those were a luxury too.
Yes,
So
and I wouldn't touch them out of spite.
Yeah, you're like, now you want to buy it?
Yeah.
No. Two can play.
Mm-hmm. I just wouldn't eat them
Two
because
can play.
I don't know. I feel like the eating disorder also kind of like messed with my relationship with my mother.
Yeah.
Because I started to do a lot of things out of spite. Like she would make dinner and I just like wouldn't eat it. I hear a lot that it's like that a lot of people with eating disorders are conceited.
Yeah.
And I agree, but at the same time I don't.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I really don't agree.
Okay.
When I was at my worst,
You didn't like yourself.
I hated myself so much. Like I was doing anything I could to have an out of body experience.
Yes.
Because like I didn't want to exist in my body.
But then
I hated
everyone's
myself.
looking at you and they're like, you're conceited.
And then there's also a piece of you that wants the validation. It wants people to tell you, oh my God, you look so skinny today. Because that like fuels it more.
It does.
It's like this, it's literally like another person living inside of you.
It is.
Like playing puppeteer with your body. And their thoughts that you don't agree with, that you don't like, that you think are not aligned with what's really happening, but you still find yourself thinking them and you still find yourself acting on them.
Yes.
And it's such a strange thing because like you were saying before, like I look at people who are all different body types and I never think about it.
No negative thoughts.
But then me, I'm like,
so harmful to myself.
You are so gross.
Yeah.
Like and that's so it's just like unaligned, I think, with what we morally feel because you're so deeply out of control of your thoughts.
I feel like it's very complex and it's not just this person's conceited, this person wants to fit a body standard because it's not that at all at least in my experience.
It's same here. It's weird because I had a number I wanted to get to. I didn't have an ideal body I wanted to get to.
It was a number.
I'm just like, as long as I can have enough self-discipline and control myself and, like push myself hard enough to where I can be this number, then I can love myself. Yeah. I never thought of what my body would even look like at that number.
It's just the number. And then you get to the number and
then there's a new number. Yeah.
Then you just you want to go lower and lower and lower. You want to find different workouts. You want to do it longer and longer.
Yep.
I think the thing with eating disorders is it's kind of all on you to get help or like stop, and for lack of better words.
Yeah. Did you get help? What did that look like? That moment of like, I need to get help. And then how did you go about that if you did?
See, this is kind of tough for me because I started therapy for the first time last year, kind of like around this time. Yeah. It was always tough for me to bring up the topic. I've always been told like it's like a conceited type of thing. And I just don't want to be looked at like that. Yeah. And I know it's like a therapist. She's not going to be like, girl, you're conceited. It was just hard for me to talk about. And it like still kind of is outside of like my friend group. Like I will not talk about it with my parents or even my sister. And my sister and I are like really close. Yeah. But I tried in therapy, and then I think I mostly relied on myself. Like I journaled a lot, and that really helped me. I would like journal about what I'm eating, and instead of counting the calories, I feel like that helps me more. Or like even like making my food look cute. You know what I mean?
Yes, literally that.
Like I was obsessed with avocado toast for the longest. You can put everything, bagel seasoning on it, sriracha, honey.
Yeah, it's whatever works as long as it's like safe and healthy, like do it. I kind of told my parents like I'm struggling mentally with a lot of things, but I never said like I I'm like dealing with an eating disorder. I was in therapy for a long time, and then I told my therapist, and then it finally hit a point where I was like so like visibly unwell that I almost wondered like, how did my parents not see it? And maybe they did and they just didn't know what to do. But that's when my therapist literally made me this is so
What?
I can't believe this is real.
But
She called in my parents, told me to wait in the hall, basically told them everything that I had talked about that day, which was at the time I was like self-harming and having a bad eating disorder. So she told them, and then she told them that they had to do a search of my room and confiscate anything that I could hurt myself with. And then she made me sign a I won't commit suicide contract. I have a copy of it at my house.
Shut up.
She made me sign a contract, and I was refusing to sign it. Not even because I was going to kill myself, but at that point I was being a little petty. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
You want me to sign an anti-suicide contract?
Nope.
Watch. I'm not doing it.
Not happening, girl.
Whether I sign this piece of paper or not will not determine whether I'm going to kill myself.
It's not a legal document.
Right? Like,
Even
and
if
what are
it
they going to
was-
do?
No.
Sue me?
Right? Sue
When
me
I'm
from the
dead?
grave?
Like,
Let's be
no.
so real. What
It
was
was
the point?
such a weird concept. I think it was almost like a guilt tripping thing. Like now you feel like there's this thing over you. You know,
okay.
it was a weird thing. So when
Yeah.
I refused to sign the contract, they sent me to Four Winds.
Oh my God, 4 wins.
So I was in the mentee,
Mm-hmm.
and get this, I had to go to school every day, and then the mental hospital van would come to the high school and pick me up and take me.
No. Like, does the van say 4 wins?
No, so they make it discreet. There's like a
Oh.
red ribbon in the window,
Okay.
so you can tell, and there's a number on the back.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, so I had to go every day after school. They would snatch me up, bring me.
High school?
Yeah, 11th grade.
Oh my God.
They would force me
That's
to
a
eat
lot.
chocolate chip cookies there.
Stop. Really? Force you?
You're gonna sit here until you finish your cookies.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. Was it helpful? I actually got more traumatized. So they had a dietitian I had to see twice a week. And she told me that if I recovered from anorexia, there was a 98% chance I would become bulimic. So I probably shouldn't recover from anorexia because, yeah. Can you believe that?
What?
A professional. She got fired while I was there.
Okay,
So
thank
that's
God.
good.
Because
But
what?
like
Not so professional.
that statement in itself has stuck with me ever since.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
you know,
that's
I have a fear of
lot.
throwing up.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh my God, if I stop like starving myself, I'm gonna start throwing up all the time.
That's a lot. That's
Yeah.
Scary.
So my mental hospital experience was very mid.
Oh my God. I was in rehab for a little bit last year. Off topic.
Side story.
Whole nother thing.
Side quest.
Mama was in rehab for a little bit, and my therapist there, one of the therapists I saw there, wanted me so badly to do the groups. It was like you can kind of pick and choose, but it was like one night a week
Yeah.
type of thing, or like 2 nights a week. I just couldn't do it.
It's a lot.
I'm imagining it. We're all sitting in a room and like one by one talking about our story. And it's just scary.
It's heavy.
I still to this day can't do it. And I feel like I'm a million times better than what I was then.
I think it's hard too because you have to hold a lot of space for other people and yourself.
Yeah.
Like when you're hearing all these horrible stories of things that people have gone through, you start to feel like really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start taking on their pain and their struggles. And then
Yeah.
you start worrying about that. And then you kind of forget why you're even there in the first place.
Yeah.
And then you start comparing yourself.
I was
Like,
gonna
these
say.
people have it worse than me. How could I
Yeah.
possibly like be here
Uh-huh.
when they went through that? I think having a therapist that you actually can talk to and that you like is super helpful, and a style of therapy that actually works for you.
Yeah.
Because like group therapy for me was really great at the time, but I've also tried group therapy later in life and it was like, ooh,
Not it.
ooh,
Uh-huh.
I'm good.
Yeah.
There has to also be like a desire to want to get better from it.
That's the thing. My parents told me nonstop, like, you have to want to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, therapy's not cheap, too.
Nor.
Let me add that.
Especially in America when capitalism is literally taking over and we're all gonna die, and healthcare is not universal and nobody can afford to literally even see a doctor, let alone if there's an emergency. We are all one emergency away from literally being on the streets We need accessible mental health care. Continue.
Yes, we do, because I was literally throwing all my money away
Yeah.
to the 2 therapists I was seeing and one of the psychiatrists at the rehab place. And although I feel like I got better, I don't like that we have to pay for things like that.
Especially that much.
It was a lot of money. My mom did most of it for me because I was out of a job because my situation was just so bad.
Yeah.
But not everyone has that privilege.
And it's sad that not even we, because we don't, but America prioritizes funding genocide, for example.
Like what?
Over the mental health crisis that is happening here.
Yep.
Girl, put your money where your mouth is.
The priorities are not straight.
The priorities are so skewed.
And I can't see a good future for this country. I mean, look at the candidates.
Look at them. If you can see them, because they're so shriveled up and crinkly and old.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get any better from here.
No, I'm literally scared. Would you consider yourself in recovery now?
I would.
I would.
Recover, like RECOVE. Not the whole word recovering. Just like halfway. Almost there.
That was so millennial coded.
I'm 21. I don't know.
That was crazy. Did you just come up with that right now?
I did.
Okay, that was cute.
That was not in the blood notes.
Okay.
Was that really funny?
There was something very cursed about that.
Okay, period.
I loved it. Okay, anyways, so recover. Recover.
Recoup.
Recouvre.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, a little French. So you would consider yourself like partially recovered.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I feel like I'm not really in the mindset of calories in, calories out anymore. I used to work out a lot, and I would only eat as much as I know I'm going to burn in the gym.
Yeah.
And you know, on like those machines at like Planet Fitness.
Like the treadmill, how it tells you how many calories you burn and stuff. Yeah.
And then I would just remember, like, I'd be there for like 45 minutes. And so it's going to be the same like every day. So I would only eat that much and then go work out. And then I'd burn all that. And then, you know, have a smoothie for dinner. And then I'd go on a run. So then I burn that off. And then that was my day. I'm not like that anymore. I definitely still am thinking about calories all the time. I feel like that's kind of just something that's going to stick with me, unfortunately, or at least that's kind of what I'm feeling. Comparing it to how it was before, definitely a lot better.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
No, it's giving Trisha Paytas.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like with the calories thing, like it's just gonna take time.
Yeah.
As you stop actively doing it, you will slowly let go of it. There's some things I will cross off the label so I don't look at it.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like literally put like tape or like Sharpie over labels and stuff so you don't have that instinct to like turn it around.
I feel like that's another thing with my family. I'm going to say my family as a whole, like extended family, everything.
Yeah.
They love calories. They love talking about it. They love pointing it out. Family reunions are like, oh my God, that deviled egg. I know exactly how many calories are in that.
It runs in the family.
Yes, it does. So like I'm always around that constant like talk of like calories and numbers. So I don't know. I don't know where that's gonna go with me. It's so
hard because it's like you will hear it.
Yeah.
Throughout your entire life. It's a constant thing. The calorie talk, the eating talk, the what's on your plate, the are you sure you're going to eat that? Ooh, a second helping. Are you sure? Another piece of bread?
It'll always be there. I remember in health class of 10th grade, maybe. We had an assignment where we all had to count our calories for the day. Or no, it was for the week.
Yeah, you had to track it. Yeah. I did that too.
And then we had to turn it in. And then he'd like grade it.
You would like review them.
Oh, and this is kind of off topic, but not really. The wrestling team, the eating disorders those men and girls have, and then they project it on everyone else.
Yeah, because like their weight class and like.
Yes.
Oh,
like we'd be at lunch and you just hear them be like, oh, I can't eat that because I have to make this weight by tonight.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
That's like a weird deep memory that I totally have too.
Yes.
Yeah, high school health class was traumatizing. And of course, you get a little competitive when you gotta write out what I eat in a day, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Now let me challenge myself to be the skintiest in the class.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that where the competitive side of the eating disorder is like, hey girl, I'm here.
Yeah. And then you're graded on it, which is so weird.
Yeah, it's like, what are you gonna do? Give me a 60 because
I ate too much or too little?
I didn't eat all the food groups.
No, yeah. All the food groups, I can't.
The food groups, the My Plate, the Pyramid.
Yes.
The Weight Watchers commercials, the Ozempic.
I hate it. Ooh.
Oh.
Ozempic.
Should we talk about Ozempic? Do you have opinions?
I do have an opinion. I feel like it's strange that we're taking something diabetics need to lose weight, but if you do have a thyroid problem, I think you can get prescribed it.
Yes, I think if you're prescribed it for health reasons, slay the house down, do what you need to do.
Yeah, mama.
If you're taking it for weight loss, you're prescribing someone an eating disorder.
Yes.
That's all it is. Because all it does is make you hungry or make you less hungry and like curb your appetite.
That is so true.
You're prescribing a pipeline, one
and
that we are too familiar with.
Yes, and it's everywhere now.
Yep, and it's so normalized, and it's like we're going back to the early 2000s of like the military diet, the ABC diet, all of those things that we were expected to follow. We're going back to it just by saying, oh, just give yourself a shot twice a day and you'll be skinny forever.
It's bringing back heroin chic.
It is.
Do you remember that? It's bringing that back. The BBLs are still there, but I mean, they could be on Ozempic too.
I think the BBLs are on Ozempic.
They have, they actually have this off topic. They have to gain weight for that surgery.
Yeah, you gotta gain weight so they can suck it and pump it.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah, Ozempic is scary because then once you come off of it, it has not changed your mental relationship with your weight or your food. It's just making your body look different, and then you usually will binge and go back to your previous weight, and it's just bad for your body, bad for your health.
I'm like all over the place. That actually reminded me the word binge. We're going so back, so I'm sorry. But I think my biggest fear in like fully recovering was that I'm just going to binge every single day and gain all the weight back. At first, like when I really got my help like last year, I was definitely eating a lot, and maybe a doctor would look at that and say that's binging. I feel like that's also necessary when you're coming back from a very restrictive state.
The idea of all-in recovery, like if you actually really do want to recover, eating whatever you want until your weight actually balances itself out and you're healthy, and then building more structure into your eating routine.
Yeah.
Is like a really good way to go about it, because you kind of have to just eat.
You do.
Like no matter what it is, as long as you're eating.
Yeah.
And then there's that initial, like when you start eating again, you're really, really hungry because you're actually allowing yourself to feel your hunger cues and to feel what your body just should feel normally. It's a really difficult thing too, because you're used to eating like maybe once a day, and all of a sudden you're eating every hour or so, or every 30 minutes or whatever it is. You feel like you're never gonna stop.
Yeah, and it feels unhealthy, but again, I feel like it's almost necessary when you're coming out of such a restrictive state you've been in forever.
I agree with you completely. And I remember like when I started recovery, I was like chomping, munching, crunching left and right. I couldn't stop. But it was the only way to get myself from not eating to like I had to like stomach the idea of eating.
Yeah.
And for so long I couldn't, so I had to like eat down,
literally eat everything. But you kind of have to do it. And I feel like then you kind of realize I'm not gaining that much weight when I'm like eating all this food. It's
just like normal. Like you have to eat food.
Yeah. But then when like you're restrictive, you think if I eat this piece of cake, I'm going to gain all this weight. But then, I'm eating this cake now, and then let's say I weigh myself the next day, it did not change.
Right. Well, that's the thing. The whole thing is like you playing games with yourself.
It is.
And like how far can you push yourself?
You're like your worst enemy.
You are.
In that illness.
It literally feels like there's somebody like, there's like an alter ego. There's like me, and then there's this person who's telling me all these things I should be, and I don't believe it, but I do believe it because it feels safe and comfortable. It's really an abusive relationship with yourself.
No, yes.
It's so bad.
Have you ever had that kind of like heart palpitation thing when
Yeah.
like you were in your... Okay, same.
Have you? Yeah.
I have, for sure.
Talk about it.
Oh my God, it's the weirdest feeling. You literally feel like you could die at any given moment, and your breathing's just very heavy, and then my whole body would get very warm.
Yes. You almost feel like I don't even want to say this, warm and wet.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's how you feel.
It feels like your body's shutting down. Like you literally feel like your organs are like, I'm turning off.
Yeah, and then like it's happened like around family or friends, and I always tell myself it's just anxiety because my mom's just like, oh, it's just anxiety. Like anything that really happens to me.
It's wild because eating disorders are the #1 most fatal mental illness.
It is.
Anytime you feel that feeling, that could be the time where something actually happens. So many young people who struggle with eating disorders go into cardiac arrest.
Yeah, which is
or have
so
like heart
scary.
failure.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we know that. We're aware.
Yeah, but it's not stopping anything.
No.
Which is, it just further proves that this is not a choice. Like another thing, people think everyone with eating disorders is just doing it to fit into a body standard.
Or like it's just a diet or something.
Yeah, girl, no, it's not. Like, this is very serious. You could die from it. It's like changed all of our lives.
Yeah. It ultimately is a death sentence. Like if you don't stop it, you will die from it.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the more your body cannot withstand this sort of treatment. So, yeah. It's really
there's
great.
no happy ending to it.
No, unless you get the help that you deserve and that you need. What would you say to somebody who is in the place that you were in when you started struggling with this? What are the moves? How do you help?
I would say that nobody is looking at you or thinking about you. And
Nobody cares about you.
No, that sounds terrible. But listen, I have more.
Okay.
Because my whole thing was I always felt like people were judging me and looking, like, eating in the break room. Like nobody's actually looking at me.
Nobody actually cares.
Yeah. And my mom, she's tried to like drill this into my head my whole life really. But I feel like that's really where it starts. Nobody is looking at you. Nobody is thinking about you. Nobody is judging you. It's all in your head. And it all starts with you. And you really have to realize that it starts with you.
Yeah, that's kind of a little philosophical moment. Yeah, I think ultimately it's one of those things where if you do recognize that you are going through something like this, that you have the power to live a good life. And a good life cannot exist when you have an eating disorder.
Yeah.
It simply cannot. Whether you get to that number in your head or not, it's not going to change the self-hatred. It's not going to change how often you're spiraling. It's not going to change your self-perception. In fact, your self-perception will probably be the worst it's ever been.
Oh, for sure. And it doesn't have to be like that forever. You can recover. You can get help. You can.
And delete
MyFitnessPal.
Cancel your subscription.
Yes, it's not
Delete
worth the
her.
$12.
It's really not. There's
not
so many
at all.
other things you can get with $12.
Yeah.
Like a box of insomnia cookies.
Oh my God, yes. 3 bottles of kombucha. Right here. Synergy, my fave.
A little prebiotic never hurt a girl's tummy.
You can get 2 cake pops from Target. They have their own brand.
They have their own cake pops?
Yes, it's $5 for 4. Or wait, is it?
Is it,
might
4
be
for
7
5 or 5 for 4?
It might be $6.99 for 4.
We'll round up.
Yeah.
We'll say 7 for 4.
Yeah, $7 for
Target
4.
cake pops. And then you're saving money, girl math, because you're not spending $12. You're actually spending $7.
Yes.
So that's $5 free.
With $12, I think I would get maybe a new phone case. This one's kind of messed up.
Okay, period. I would get an Impossible Whopper with no cheese or mayo.
I think I would probably get sushi roll, 2 sushi rolls, or a crab rangoon. That's probably like $8.99.
Wait, yeah. I would get a lychee martini if we're talking about going out to eat.
I would get an espresso martini with Casamigos. Don't play with me.
Come steal the mic from Ivan.
Come hither.
I'd probably get burrito tacos.
Burrito tacos.
Dip them right in the little juice.
Dipped in the juice booth.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on today.
Of course.
This was so Wonderful.
I loved it. You're like my little therapist, but like my bestie at the same
No,
time.
I love that. I just love talking about these things because the girls need to talk about it more, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's very normal. It's happening left, right, and center. Wait.
Left,
It's
right,
happening.
up, down.
It's happening around the house.
Yes,
Around the
the
whole house.
house.
Like, thank you for being vulnerable and for talking about this.
Of course, thank you for having me. I can only be vulnerable with you on camera.
I'm living for that. I
Like,
am living for that.
I couldn't even get this deep with my therapist to be so
Oh
real.
my God. I kind of forgot we were on camera.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, Loki kind of same.
It gave chatting in the
Club.
chatting in the club. You're chatting in Lucy's.
Oh my God, us later.
Literally. Well, thank you again so much for coming on.
Of course, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for listening to and or watching this episode of the And Also podcast. I, of course, always appreciate you taking the time to listen to these conversations as they are super, super important in regards to talking about mental health. And if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. And if you are listening on any streaming platform, be sure to give the show a 5-star rating. It very much helps us out. It helps us to reach more people who need to hear conversations like this, and send it to a friend who would enjoy this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week with another episode. Bye, guys.